second. Let me make sure this goes on.
Welcome to the African Heritage Inc. Black History Program. African Heritage Inc. is a 23 years not-for-profit organization in Appleton, Wisconsin. We are unapologetically centered on Blacks and African Americans. African Heritage Inc. is glad that all of you are virtually present with us today, and so we say thank you. Thank you to our partners, Engage to Impact, the Community Foundation of Folx Cities, Right Idea Fund, Ascension, and Adina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All through our program today, you will hear music. We do not own rights to the music, but we appreciate all of the musical talent. We remember and honor the lives in our Black communities who have died from the dual pandemic of racism and COVID-19. We ask that you amplify Black voices in your communities. Please mask up and be safe.
My sincere apologies. I was told that I was muted the entire time. And so once again, Keith L. Brown, Mr. I'm Possible, Keith L. Brown, Mr. I'm Possible, official MC of African Heritage Inc. for so many programs, Director of Student Engagement. I'm so delighted, ignited, and excited to be back. And listen, this is our annual Black History program, Black History 365, 24/7. We understand about the pandemic of systemic racism and the pandemic of COVID-19. And we've always been a people that's been resilient. Millions of Black pioneers across the globe have come this far by faith, and we will not lose our faith. We will continue to rise up. We will continue to be resilient. We will continue to fight for educational and social justice, and we will continue to be advocates for Black excellence locally, nationally, and globally. If you will stand to your feet, you know how I love to do it every year. In the form of the African diaspora, we must start like this. Everybody up right now. Come on now. Everybody on your feet. Yes. Here we go. Come on. Now walk it out. To the right. To the left. Walk it out. Come on. Everybody, here we go. AHI is in the building. This is historic. To the right. Left. Kick. Walk it out. Here we go. Here we go. To the right. Get that blood boiling. Come on, get that blood boiling. Let's go. Get those feet moving. Let's go. We are celebrating Black History 365, 24/7. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Walk it out. Last time, everybody, to the right. Yes, yes. Oh, yes. Black people, black people, black people. GOODJOB. Good job, good job. 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 Come on and give yourselves a hand. Give yourselves a hand. I'm telling you, listen, I am definitely excited. I'm definitely delighted, and I'm definitely ignited to be back here in Appleton, Wisconsin, all but on a virtual platform. And I want you all to know how historic this is. COVID-19 could not stop African Heritage Inc. from having its annual Black History program because we know how relevant it is. We know how important it is to celebrate and commemorate the life, the legacy, the contributions of millions of Black people across the globe. Once again, we are unapologetically Black, and we welcome all those to join us on today. We welcome everyone to join us on today. So listen, at this time, it really just gives me great pleasure. It gives me great pleasure to bring an individual to the forefront who is really a pioneer just like Dr. Charles Drew, a Black man who perfected the use of blood plasma, just like a Black man by the name of Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, who did the first open heart surgery. Well, guess what? This individual is the board chair of African Heritage Inc. He was the regional medical director for palliative care for the Ascension based in Appleton, Wisconsin. He now advises and supports African heritage all the way from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And those of you who don't know, please look up Black Wall Street, the tragedy of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So he works with Ascension as a palliative care physician. He is a pioneer in the medical field. He is an innovator. He is a liberator when it comes to medicine. I want you to show your love with your mics muted for our board chair, Dr. Advocating Adeboye. Dr. Adeboye, come to the platform.
Mr. Impossible, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. And we welcome you all to this year's Black History Month program. It's with great pleasure I welcome everybody, and thank you all for joining us today. As we've been hearing, we're going through not just one pandemic, but two pandemics, and both of them require us to be very resilient at this time. And so, it would be mindful of us to kind of think about using this opportunity to kind of take care of ourselves for self-care, and also use it to develop our own resilience, listening to all the various topics that are going to be discussed today, tune into all the different speakers here, listen to all the great work that is being done by AHI to help foster, good health, help foster confidence in our youth and everyone at this point in time. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you all have a great time and a great day today. We're hoping that you all join us through the end of the program when some important information will be relayed to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's been working wonderfully behind the scenes right now. And I'll hand it back over to Mr. Impossible. Mr. Brown, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Yes. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Thank you so very much, Doc. Thank you so very much for all of your groundbreaking work. And now at this time, wherever you are, we're going to ask that you, if you can stand to do so, but just with uplifted hearts, prepare to listen to this internationally known, nationally recognized, and locally accepted violinist, determined, diligent, dazzling Demola, as he is known as Demola, the violinist. Listen, he's a musician, he's a singer, he's a songwriter, he's an award-winning artist. He has been an official band member with the hit group Tony, over 480,000 social media followers, over 25 million impressions. Listen, he is the truth, and he is going to lead us in Lift Every Voice and Sing, as well as other award-winning selections. Please come to the platform of African Heritage Inc.'s Black History Program, diligent, dazzling Demola.
Do I need to talk this time around? I don't need to.
Well, while we wait for diligent, dazzling Demola, everyone, let us prepare for Lift Every Voice and Sing. Everyone.
Thank
Wow.
you guys for having me. I go by the name Demola. They call me Demola the violinist. I'll be back in the next segment, and we're gonna vibe when I come back. Y'all ready for some upbeat music, hip hop, R&B, and all of that? Afrobeats too. See you guys.
Demola, come on, everybody. GOODJOB. Good job. I said GOODJOB. Good job. That was Black brilliance and Black excellence at the highest level. We only have the best here at African Heritage Inc. And at this time, I want you to fasten your seatbelts on this first class journey, this first class odyssey around the African continent, as I bring to the stage an individual who's an internationally acclaimed, world-renowned poet, spoken word artist, author, speaker, who speaks emphatically and empathetically to the hearts of the masses. Listen, she has the content mixed with elite lyricism and soul-stirring delivery. She's been known to leave audiences of all kinds on their feet. featured in Ebony, Jet magazines, and Rolling Out magazines, just to name a few. I present to some and I introduce to others. An internationally acclaimed spoken word artist and poet, knowledgeable, kind-hearted, kindred spirited, K Love.
Can you guys hear me? I can't see you.
We can definitely hear you, our significant sister. We can hear you on this platform. Spit to the masses.
Well, that's good. The host has to able my video so that you guys can see me. So until that happens, you can't see me. I'm so sorry. There we go. We got action. Can y'all see me? Peace and blessings, everybody. My name is K Love. I am so honored to be joining you guys to celebrate Black History, a worthy cause to celebrate. I'm so happy about the conversations that we are going to have and the things that we are discussing. I am going to start off by paying respect to my greatest ancestor. Last Tuesday, my father, my superhero, transitioned, and I made a vow to myself that I would honor my father on every platform that I step foot on. The piece that I'll be doing for you guys today is called I'm a Survivor. And as I was thinking about this, man, if we're thinking about 2020 and 2021, we all have had to dig into our survivorness inside of ourselves, right? But if you think about the African people, we come from a lineage of survivors, you know, our direct ancestors and the ones that came before us, even before that, are survivors. We survived whatever it is that we were going through. And we also have the power and the magnitude to survive right now. Losing my father has made me hyper aware of that. This is something that I thought would have killed me, but here I am, still living and standing in power. So I just want to remind all of you that we are survivors and we have the ability to overcome whatever they throw at us, whether we're talking about COVID or the cops trying to kill us. That's what we do. So I'm here to remind you. I'm a survivor, whether you know it or not. Whether we talking COVID or cops, I don't stop. How can I be scared of a vaccine when I come from a legacy of Black kings and queens? I am always the exception to the rule. My DNA is the tool. My ancestors found their way through the fire. I already told you I am a survivor. You could taste the strength in my saliva. I spit fire because I've been through it. Call me Sister Struggle. You can say I'm kin to it. My granny was a gangster. Diabetes couldn't beat her. My mama woke up out of 18-hour coma and she's still one of the coldest divas. Yeah, I come from a long line of wise wives and made men who manipulated their way through the maze and it made them amazing. So I follow suit like I'm chasing a blazer and a pair of slacks. When life bites, I bite back. You get whooped enough, you learn how to put your dukes up and fight back, so you could call me the karate chiropractor. Never letting what I lack be a factor. Reality is determined by the thoughts one has, so I change my state of mind more than infants with diaper rash. I'm not a product of my past, more like a figment of my future. I use my setbacks as the sutra. I already know that having my heart in pieces only produced some of my hardest pieces. I found peace in my pain, only used it for personal gain. I read the biblical verse that said, let patience have its perfect work. So I created it as dream job in me. I had a dream. God and me got intimate and he told me he ain't into quick nor easy, that the fight's not finished. God told me in order for me to be a star starter, I had to see some benches. So yeah, Sister soldiered and warred in some wars, but I found tenacity in my trenches. And yeah, I got some battle wounds that hurt like battered wounds of rape victims, but I heal quick like well-trained pits, sustain and maintain grace when the pain hits. Picture my picture as I paint it. You name it, I've seen it. If not in the physical, you can guarantee I fought them demons in my mind, but I wrestle not against flesh and blood. But my flesh stays trying to test, but my spirit is a thug all the time. I'm a renegade at soul, worth Oprah Winfrey's weight in gold. My faith is bold. There's nothing I can't handle. My lights get cut off. I cop candles. I get down, but don't stay down. My car break down. I go Greyhound. I keep a bus card on deck. No cash, no sweat. I never seen a day of my needs not being met. I'm a vet to adversity, a pro at problems, a math whiz at this, the way I handle hard times with puzzle Einstein. See, I decided you got to get tired of crying. Got to get tired of crying. You can either lie down and let life whoop you bad, or you can get swollen and roll in a Tabo class or something. And I know your trouble's steady coming like the ever-evolving door in a revolving door, and you're tired like the latest commercial rappers on your radio, because lately, your bill's been bodybuilding. I know you're stressed, been taking steroids. It seems like your pain gang bangs and hangs with a posse of poverty, and you probably praying for a breakthrough right now as I speak. So I hope you get some peace from this piece that I wrote for the week. Let there's hope be your quote for the week. It's all about how you think. See, right now you can start to feel your failures and disappointments underneath your feet. And even if you woke up broke up, you still woke up. That says something about you. Only let this world and its woes bring that warrior out you. You too are a survivor. You got God DNA all in you. So even though this life will try to break you, never let it bend you. You're blessed for what you've been through. Learn how to let your burdens build you. In this life, keep telling yourself the only things that can make you stronger. The only things that can make you stronger. The only things that can make you stronger are those things that do not kill you. You too are a survivor. And me and God think it's time you start acting like it. Thank you. Just to give you guys a little bit more information. So my father passed away as a result of neglect for diabetes and congestive heart failure. Just not having the discipline to take care of himself properly, being afraid to take the necessary steps to make sure that he protects himself. As we approach this vaccine coming out, I am not going to tell you that you should or you shouldn't, but what I am going to tell you is fear not. Do not be afraid. Do the things that you know that it takes to preserve yourself and to preserve the legacy after you. Thank you guys so much for having me a part of your program. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the show. Peace and blessings.
GOODJOB, good job, good job. I said GOODJOB, good job, good job. And we serve a GOODGOD, a good God, a good God. And my sister, listen, the last time we were together, K-Love is so ironic, but it's anointed. The last time we were together was in Buffalo, New York. And little did we know that both of our fathers would pass away when we saw each other again. So I just lost one of my beloved fathers just 3 weeks ago. So I give you virtual hugs, my sister, and may both of our fathers rest in the bosom of the Creator. And I love you so much. And just the fact that you could bring your father's legacy on this platform today shows not only the strength that you have, but the compassion and the universal love you have for your people, because it would have been understandable if you could not arrive, but you arrived. And not only did you arrive, you spit. And when you spit, the whole earth has been replenished. When you started spitting, the whole earth, I'm serious, the soil is rich. The soil is rich after your word. So once again, my beautiful, bountiful, brilliant sister, GOODJOB, good job, good job. Everybody love, K-Love. With your mic muted, go ahead and put your hands together. Put it in the chat. Put some fire in the chat for K-Love right now before she goes. And K-Love, before you go, give us your social media, sis. Give us your social media so you can be followed, because you are definitely worth following.
Yes, good brother. And my condolences to you on losing your father as well. You guys can find me at K Love the Poet, at symbol letter KLOVETHEPOET. Thank you guys so much.
GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. K Love, and the K is for knowledgeable. The K is for kindred spirited. The K is for kind hearted. Boy, didn't she spit. That's what we do with African Heritage Inc., y'all. That's what this Black history is about on an annual level. We would not let the pandemic of COVID-19 stop us. We would not let the pandemic of systemic racism stop us. It's all about Black brilliance, Black love, Black excellence, Black innovation, Black ingenuity. African Heritage Inc., Black History 365, 24/7. Well, at this time, I need you to put on your thinking caps. And if you don't have your thinking caps, this next individual is going to weave one for you through her powerful message. She is one who has earned a PhD in humanities with a concentration in African American studies and history from the Clark Atlanta University right here in the AU Center. She is popped on and I'm ready. Listen, her research focuses on the African American experience during the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries. Listen, I want you to understand she has self-pride and self-confidence that is rooted in African American history and culture. She is currently the postdoctoral fellow in public humanities and African American life at Clemson University. Show your love for Dr. Leading, Lifting, Lanice Littleton.
Wow, thank you so much. You know what? Brother Impossible always gives the best introductions. Like everywhere I go, I have got to take Mr. Brother Keith Brown, Brother Impossible. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to see you again. You know, ever since Juneteenth, people have been calling me Dr. Leading Lanice Littleton, and I am A-okay with that. I'm here for that. Hello, everyone. Greetings and good afternoon and happy Black History Month. I am so elated to be with you all today, to be back with you all. I think last time we saw each other, it was Juneteenth. And we have wrapped back around to my favorite time of the year, Black History Month. And so I am so excited and so thankful to be here with you today. Before I get started, I have to just say thank you to African Heritage Inc. for having me again. And a very special thank you to my mentor, Dr. Sabrina Robbins. See, I'm nervous. I'm tongue-tied. I want to say thank you to Dr. Robbins for just being a consistent, just support system. I just love her so much. And I am so thankful to have her and her support. So to get started, because I know I only have about like 20 minutes and then we're going to do a Q&A, but I was so excited when I got the invitation because Black History Month is so special to me. I'm wearing my Carter G. Woodson pin. And before I jump into the talk, I just want to take a minute and say it's really important. Everywhere I go in February, I always acknowledge Dr. Carter G. Woodson for being the creator of Black History Month and for having the vision for what was Negro History Week in 1926, which was intended to be a celebration of the contributions of African people to human culture and history. And so we know that February is not the only time that we acknowledge African history, but it is intended to be a celebration. And so I am excited to be here to celebrate with you all this Black History Month. So this topic of pandemic, past and present, is one that's really moving to me because in constructing this talk, I went and I tried to find some interviews of folks who were alive during 1918, during the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. And I ended up finding some interviews. And one of the interviews that I found that stood out to me was a woman who, the interview was from the 1980s. But she survived it, the pandemic, as a girl. And she said that all she could remember was that there was a lot of death. And so I want us to think about that and how in these social moments, and one such as this one that we think and we feel often is a unique social moment, is actually a replaying and a reoccurring of themes. And so that's really important. when we're talking about this current pandemic that we're in right now, as well as the pandemic of 1918. So I want to talk a little bit about the pandemic of 1918, and then we'll talk about the pandemic that we're in right now. And then I think we'll have some time for questions at the end, because, you know, I always want to dialogue. We always have to talk about our history and culture as a community. So as I just stated, we always see that history repeats itself. I know that that's a very cliche saying. I know that we've heard that all the time, but it's really important that we do understand that history does repeat itself. And if history doesn't repeat itself exactly, the same types of themes and trends repeat themselves. And so it's up to us to study history in order that we are able to identify these trends and hopefully make some changes. So in talking about the pandemic of 1918, there are a couple of things that we have to get clear about first. That yes, this pandemic did arise in 1918, but that prior to that, Black folks in America were already facing a number of challenges. So the pandemic occurs in the middle of Jim Crow segregation. And as we know, Jim Crow is legal separation, legally separate but unequal. They said it was separate but equal, but we all know it was separate but unequal. So Black folks were already living in these conditions in 1918 in the rural South as well as in urban cities, because again, the pandemic of 1918 takes place in the context of Jim Crow, but also in the context of the Great Migration. So we saw a lot of movement from the South into urban cities leading up to 1918. And then when the pandemic hit in 1918, it had disastrous consequences. So we know in general that in any type of pandemic, any type of wide sweeping economic troubles or health troubles tend to fall on the African American community in the United States. We know that that's a legacy of enslavement, that in even trying to reconstruct America, Black people were given a bad deal during Reconstruction. And that bad deal led us into the turn of the century. So we found ourselves in this moment in the World War or after the World War, really trying to build and sustain community when we were up against a lot of outside forces, such as racism, discrimination, and we know that there was an increased number of lynchings at this time. So we see that historical violence that we saw again right after this pandemic that we're contemporarily in got started. That same type of wave that we saw during the summer is the same thing that we saw during the summer of 1918 and the summer of 1919. So we saw racial violence in 1918 in Philadelphia, and then we had the Red Summer of 1919, which included I won't call them riots, I'll call them rebellions. I have some problems with the terminology of riots because a riot is a small disturbance that really doesn't have any motivation, whereas a rebellion, particularly rebellions that Black people participate in the United States, always have a root cause, right? A lot of the time it's police violence, but really it's that police violence that's symbolic of systemic racism and other economic challenges that we face as a community. And they boil over to the top. And once they boil over, we get a situation like the summer of 1919 or like the summer of 2020. So I think it's very important that we keep in mind that we still see those kind of racialized trends that were presenting themselves in the 1918 moment that are also presenting themselves in the current moment. So right in the middle of Jim Crow segregation, the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 hit. And that's very important because there's a lot of misinformation about this pandemic. So I'm really excited. I was really excited that you all asked me here today to talk about the history, but also to kind of myth bust a couple things. You know, as a historian, I'm a myth buster of sorts. And I've heard a lot of people say that the Black community was affected more than any other community by the pandemic of 1918. And that's actually not true. There are several scholars that argue that Black people were less likely to contract the Spanish flu influenza, but more likely to die if they did contract it because of limited access to resources. So when we're looking at the living conditions of African Americans in 1918, what we see is that because of segregation, there are no hospitals for Black people to be admitted to. Black people were turned away from hospitals. So even if they contracted the flu, there was no hospital treatment that they could receive, which meant that we were left depending on the community to provide resources, on nurses, on midwives, or on community healers that everyone knew. So that's an important thing to understand too, is just the access to resources in 1918, that there was a lot of death, as I said at the beginning, because of the limited access to resources and because folks were caring for themselves and their loved ones in the home. They were relying on the community to be able to show up and provide that care and call a doctor if necessary. But again, because of discrimination and segregation, it was very unlikely that a Black family, I read a story about a Black woman who had 5 children, and when the community arrived to help her, 2 of the children had already succumbed to the flu and the others were very unwell. So the community had to come in and clean the house, and they brought in a nurse, a Black nurse, to come help. So what we also see during 1918, again, is a community uplift. So because of the health disparities and the limited access to healthcare, what we see is Black nurses who were turned away from working in white hospitals who showed up to support the community. So historians argue that there were about 3,000 Black nurses during the pandemic of 1918 to 1920 that went into Black homes individually to service our community and to try to make people as well as possible. So again, when we're looking at community efforts, we have to respect Black women. You know, the Black women are always showing up to save the day. And so we have to be thankful for Black women, Black nurses particularly right now who are on the front lines, as well as Black nurses in 1918, 1919, and 1920 that helped to sustain the community. What's also important is when we look at the numbers, we know that approximately 675,000, that's 675,000 people in the United States died from the Spanish influenza of 1918, and approximately 500 million people worldwide, which is a large number. They say that the Spanish flu killed more people than World War I. However, we'll never actually know the accurate numbers of Black folks who contracted the flu or died from it, again, because of the limited access to hospitals and resources. So all we can do is look to a lot of these primary resources and interviews of folks who were alive at the time who spoke to being able to survive the pandemic and the amount of death that they experienced. So I think what's really important in talking about this is that we realize that the emotional toll that this takes on a community. So there's an emotional weight that accompanies this kind of death, this kind of mass scale of death, this mass burial of Black folks in the 19 teens that we have to acknowledge. And so I just want to take a minute to say that we have to acknowledge it then and now, that as a people, we are grieving as a result of this pandemic. And so it's very important that as we be socially conscious, we be just as emotionally conscious of what we're going through as a community. So one of the things that is really extraordinary, because I go by, people call me Historian Bay. That's my social media handle, historian, Black and educated, Black and excellent, Black and empowered. So because I'm Historian Bay, I have to tell you an empowering story in the context of this pandemic of 1918. So in my research, what I found that was extraordinary was the work that the Urban League did during the pandemic of 1918. COVID-19 to really organize on the grassroots level and provide Black people with the education and the resources that they needed. So the Urban League in places like Ohio hired some of these Black nurses to go into these homes. They made sure that they had the resources that they needed. So in Ohio, we see them hiring Black nurses. In Chicago, we see them hiring Black nurses and recruiting volunteers to go into these homes and to clean and cook and provide the necessary support and resources for these communities. So again, it's different in urban settings than in rural settings, but in both places, we see a community effort to come together to not only care for these people, but then to bury the dead after that. So I want us to always be empowered by our collective community consciousness, and how in these moments, even though we're grieving, even though we are grieving not only the deaths as a result of these viruses, of the influenza or of COVID-19, but also of the racial violence and the systemic oppression that we face. So again, that's why I love African Heritage Inc. for coming together and providing a community space for education, but also that emotional and historical and mental support that we need in these moments. So to wrap up, I want to give us some contemporary figures, because we know as much as this is a historical conversation, this is a contemporary conversation. And in order to have some contemporary conversation, we have to look at the numbers. So Indigenous people, Native Americans, are actually those who are the most challenged by COVID-19. I need us to know that Indigenous communities are the most challenged in terms of contracting the virus as well as dying from the virus, followed by African American communities. I need us to know that. So the Black community is more likely to contract, is 3 times more likely to contract and die from the virus than the white community. That's important, 3 times more likely. The figures say, and I'm coming off the CDC, so anybody who's like, where are these numbers? I'm coming off the CDC, so don't worry, this is accurate. This is accurate information. That means that according to a study that was completed on February 2nd, that means that there is 1 in 645 Black Americans that has died from COVID-19 in the past year. That's 1 in 645. That's nearly 155 deaths per 100,000. That is a really high number. We have to be conscious that that's a really high number, considering that the number for white Americans is 1 in 875. So the chances of Black folks contracting COVID-19 and dying from COVID-19 are 3 times higher than other racial and ethnic groups. I also want us to keep in mind that I don't think that it's unique that we are in this moment where we're up against, I love the way that Brother Impossible said it, the pandemic of racism and the pandemic of COVID-19. Because if we look to the 1918 to 1920 moment, we see that it was the eve of what we call the New Negro movement. It was the eve of the Harlem Renaissance. We see a cultural resurgence. We see a historical resurgence. We know that Black History Month is founded in 1926. So I don't think that it is a universal coincidence that exactly 100 years after the Spanish flu pandemic wrapped up, that a brand new pandemic with the same challenges are facing Black people, which is terrifying. But I'm also optimistic, because what that means is that the new Negroes are coming, and that's me and you, y'all. That's all of us. And so it's very important that in this moment, we commit ourselves to the responsible dissemination of information, and to telling empowering stories in the midst of tragedies, because we have to begin to look to history as a tool for our self-confidence and our empowerment, even when we feel totally disempowered. So I'm going to leave it right there because I know we might have a couple. I like to dialogue with y'all. I know definitely Dr. Robinson's going to ask me some hard questions. So I just want to say again, the more things change, the more time changes, the more that things often stay the same. And if it is going to be up to anyone to provide Black people with the resources they need, the education they need, the care that we need, it's going to be up to us. Because we know following the Spanish flu pandemic, there was no widespread policy or initiative to save Black people or to provide us with health care. So it's very important that we take a message from the Urban League of 1918 and grassroots organize and see what we can do to support ourselves and sustain ourselves in the new Negro movement that is coming. Thank you all so much.
Yes, GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. I said GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. I got to give you some music to yours, though. Do you understand? I can't just say it. I got to break it down for you one time. Yes, here we go.
Hey.
That's it right there. Now we can do it one time. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Come on. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. She gave us that knowledge. It's time to grow. Dr. Littleton will help you glow. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Oh, I'm so delighted, ignited, and excited for the information that you just gave us. And you know, Dr. Lifting Littleton, I always say that all of our young people need to hear you, because I'm certain that what you are putting down is a lot more than what they're learning in some of their history classes, especially if equity is not a part of the curriculum. So, my significant sister, thank you for stopping by once again. The historian Bay, B-A-E. I need you to break down Bay again, because see, somebody might have missed what Bay stands for. It's not Baywatch, okay?
No, it's not
Baywatch.
Baywatch. Even though, you know, we serving books, we serving looks, we doing all of that. I want everybody to read The Miseducation of the Negro by Dr. Woodson, just to honor him in Black History Month. But I am historian Bay, Black and excellent, Black and educated, Black and empowered, Black and everything else. We can't hear you.
Talking about all of that. So listen, we know you all have some questions. We're going to ask that you go ahead and put your questions in the chat for the Honorable Historian Bay. Yes, I love it. Dr. Littleton doing her thing up at Clemson University and all over the world. So here we go right now. Let's go ahead with some questions. And she talked about the new Negro with emphasis on grow, so we can grow as a people. So let's come on now. Let's come on and put those questions in the chat. You heard a powerful message. It was informative. It was inspiring. It was enlightening, and it was empowering. And listen, we have to have questions. We have to have questions. So that was amazing. That was amazing. Thank you so very much. So we're going to go ahead and ask that you put those questions in the chat. Put those questions in the chat right now. And while we're waiting on our first question, you know, Dr. Littleton, I was even surprised to find that African Americans were not the ones most impacted by COVID-19. What can we do then? Because there's a lot of information that says that. So what would you suggest we do to get clarity so that we can understand what's going on, you know, during this pandemic, and who's the most challenged? What communities are the most challenged?
You know, I thought that was a really interesting statistic as well, considering that when you look at pandemics, or when you look at America in general, Black people tend to suffer the most always anyway, regardless of what the situation is. So what was surprising to me, and what I found from some public health historians, was that segregation in a way served as a quarantine. Because we weren't as intermingled and intermixing, that segregation allowed for there to be kind of some separation. But again, though Black people were less likely to contract the flu, they were more likely to die if and when they did. So that's the important thing, that even if the numbers of contraction were not as high, the death rate was. which again speaks to those disparities that we face economically and in the healthcare system in general. So I just want us to always keep in mind that even if the contraction rate were low, the death rate was high anyway, which speaks to that disparity. I think one of the things that we can do to commit ourselves to the responsible dissemination of information is to always be learning and always be trying to figure out what's going on, particularly when we're looking at the workforce, because Black people are the frontline workers. So even when we had that first shutdown, what we saw is higher rates of Black people being exposed to the virus because we are the frontline workers. As much as that's true today, that was the truth in 1918. So if white folks were contracting the virus, who was going to clean their home? Who was going to cook for them, right? We see Black women, especially in the homes, but we see fewer numbers of that. We also see the mask. I saw several images of folks wearing their mask in 1918. Most of the images that I saw were of white people in masks, not in Black people in masks. So there's that too. So we have to look at the different dynamics of these pandemics. It's not a singular issue as much as it's multi-sided.
Thank you so very much. Awesome question from the chat. You know, Dr. Significant Sabrina Robbins, you said she was going to ask a question, and she did. As it pertains to the Spanish flu, why has this been excluded from our historical understanding, from 1918 to 1920?
I'm not really sure. That's one of the things that was most interesting to me. When the pandemic first started last year, I had a lot of people saying, we don't have a historical example for this. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what. And I kept thinking, what about 1918? What about 1918? I think it's one of those things that is very much just glossed over because of the time frame. So when we're talking about World War I and all those things, we kind of like gloss over that narrative. And again, we're going into that Harlem Renaissance New Negro movement. So a lot more attention is paid to, again, these kind of stories that don't speak to the economic conditions of Black people. I call it alternative history, right? Like, these are the facts, but it's alternative than the greater context of what was happening, which makes a movement like the Harlem Renaissance or like the New Negro movement so important, because it happens after so much Black tragedy and death. So I think it's just really important that we broaden the lens. I also think that that's a result of the way that we tend to teach African American history in the first place. We'll give you Frederick Douglass, we'll give you Rosa Parks, we'll give you Dr. King, and then we'll give you Senator Raphael Warnock. Nothing happened in between all of that. So we have to be really careful about the way that we go about creating, crafting, and owning our own narratives and historical spaces, I think, to combat that.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you so very much. Magnificent Michelle Meggs wanted to know, what books can you recommend for, our additional understanding and comprehension? What books would you recommend for us to read?
The book that I want everyone to read, number one, The Miseducation of the Negro. Because listen, Carter G. Woodson survived the pandemic of 1918, to put that out in 1933. So his position on how we are miseducated and is so important. He wrote that in 1933, but that's so important for us to understand how we are where we are contemporarily with narratives about our history and culture. Another book I want everyone to read is W.E.B. Du Bois' Darkwater. Dr. Du Bois authored Darkwater in 1921, and it reads like he wrote it today, particularly the essay, The Souls of White Folk, when he talks about white supremacy and how if we don't get a hold of white supremacy now, in 100 years, we'll be up against the exact same thing. So Du Bois and Dr. Woodson, absolutely just prophetic. So those are the two texts that I would have everyone read, just to, shake your spirit up and prepare us for what's coming in the next decade or so.
Wow. Wow. Well, I don't see any other questions in the chat, but I have a question. What would you suggest, or what would you tell parents? What would you tell parents, Black parents and parents who have Black children and Black youth of color? What would you tell them in terms of helping their children and youth to grow and to navigate their own history and things of that nature? Because we know about the exclusions that still exist in the public school system in terms of Black history and how it's watered down. So what suggestions would you give to parents in this space?
You know, I am a believer of cultural immersion. So I'm so thankful for my mother and my aunties. My mom's on the call right now. I was actually just talking to her about this yesterday. My sister and my cousins and I grew up in an environment where we were doing everything Black. Juneteenth festivals, Black arts festivals, watching documentaries, reading history books. All the art in our home was Black. The books in our home were Black. So I believe that it was that constant affirmation of our African history and culture. I remember being a girl and being told we're African, right? The first storybook I ever wrote was about African women, and it was why Black women carry baskets on their head or something like that. I was like 6 years old. So I think that the best thing that we can do is to affirm ourselves culturally. And that's not just in the reading of books, but that's in buying Black storybooks for kids, right? So a lot of it is about imagery and being able to see yourself. I can confidently say that, and thankfully say that, I didn't have a lot of the issues that some people have growing up as a Black girl, because my mom taught me to love my hair. Wash day, I used to dread it because I have so much hair, but we used to talk about, oh, your hair is so pretty, you're so beautiful, you're a queen, you're a princess. And that really, really helped me, because everywhere I was looking, things were Black. My grandmother, who is 87 years old, has huge portraits of Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth and Malcolm X in her home. And growing up, I thought they were my family members. So it wasn't until I got to school that I was like, how does everybody know my Auntie Harriet? And then when I figured out, you know, she's our Auntie Harriet, I was like, let's go. So I think it's really important that we just continue to love on our kids, but also love on each other. Several of my sister friends are with us today, and we're in a group chat and we're constantly affirming each other. So I think that the constant community and historical affirmation is how we go about moving forward and growing ourselves as a people.
Oh, well, that's amazing. And I got to break it down for you once again. You know I do. I got to break it down because it was amazing. Come on, everybody. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. Come on. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. I said G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. Listen. She might have to leave, didn't come to stay. We got that knowledge from historian Bay.
Hey!
You know how we do it. We break it down impromptu. G-O-O-D-J-O-B. Good job. Good job. I want y'all to show your love for Dr. Lifting, Lanice Littleton.
Happy everyone.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm so excited about this. And listen, we're going to keep the affirmations going. Did you hear what she said? She said she thought Harriet Tubman was her auntie. Did you understand how deep that was? The figures that we have to see. We have to continue to give our children and young people the images that they can see, that they can respect, the images that will help them to love themselves, believe in themselves, be proud of themselves because they're geniuses. And guess what? You know, it's always that time of the program. This is for the young people, and we must affirm ourselves. So here we go. I love myself. I need everybody right here with I love. Get the young people. I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. And I'm a genius. And then I need you to say, I can, I will, I must, and I got this. So these are 8 affirmations. Y'all can write them down if you're joining us streaming live on Facebook. To all of our Facebook audience, AHI says good afternoon to all of you on this virtual platform. Good afternoon, wherever you are on the globe. African Heritage Inc. thanks you for tuning in. And let's get these affirmations going right now. Keith L. Brown, Mr. I'm Possible. I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. Let's walk it out. Hey. Here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. And I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. Now we're going to add one more. Because, you know, when I was growing up in the summers in Savannah, Georgia, and I was raised in Jamaica, Queens, New York, you know, grandmama used to teach us. She used to say, you're young, you're gifted, you're Black, and you're God's child. So we're going to say that right now, but we're going to say it like this. 1, 2, 3, and I'm young, I'm gifted, I'm Black, and I'm God's child. So now we got 12 affirmations. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. And I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. I'm young. I'm gifted. I'm Black. And I'm God's child. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Here we go. Last time. 1, 2. Last time. All 12. 2, 3. And I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. And I got this. I'm young. I'm gifted. I'm Black. And I'm God's child. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Now walk it out. Yes, yes. Those are 12 affirmations. Put it in the hearts, minds, and spirits of our children and young people. I love myself. I believe in myself. I'm proud of myself. I'm a genius. I can. I will. I must. I got this. I'm young. I'm gifted. I'm Black. And I'm God's child. Let's give it up once again for Dr. Leading Lanice Littleton. What a powerful keynote Q&A session. It's all about learning. It's all about Black brilliance, Black excellence, Black innovation, and Black ingenuity here at African Heritage Inc., where Black lives matter, Black lives are matter, Black mental health matters. It matters. So at this time, we got another jam session coming, y'all. We got another jam session coming from this internationally acclaimed artist and violinist, singer, songwriter, band member with Tony. I want you to show your love for the promising prince. Show your love right now for diligent, dazzling, determined, Demola. Old school to new school. It's time for our soul food jam session. Yes. And while we're waiting on that brother, here he is. While we're waiting on that brother to come on, I want y'all to know the name of that song was Walk It Out. Those 12 affirmations, the name of that song is Walk It Out. But we better make sure our children and youth do not walk out of school without a diploma in their hands, and they don't walk out of college without degrees in their hands. That's so very important. At this time, diligent, dynamic, determined, dazzling Demola, it is our jam session, Soul Food Cafe, African Heritage Inc., pandemic or not, you cannot stop us. Historic first ever virtual Black History program. Demola, the platform is yours.
Yo.
Everyone, just bear with us. We're experiencing just a brief technical difficulty.
Well, we do understand that, Doc. We're going to bear with you.
Thank you so much.
Well, they're facing some technical difficulties. Do understand that we're facing technical difficulties in our own communities, but we're going to stand. We're going to stand. We're going to stand for Tamir Rice. We're going to stand for George Floyd. We're going to stand for Trayvon Martin. We're going to stand for Mike Brown. We're going to stand for Sandra Bland. We're going to stand for Breonna Taylor. We're going to stand for Eric Garner. We're going to stand for Freddie Gray. We're going to stand for the Empowered Emmanuel 9 in Charleston, South Carolina. We're going to stand for Laquan McDonald. We're going to stand for Philando Castile. We're going to stand for all of the names that we know, that we don't know, that I didn't call. We're going to stand for them. And when we shed tears for them, we help to water the soil. So we're going to stand for all of those who've lost their lives. And I believe that we are on now with diligent, dynamic Demola. Don't worry about the technical difficulties in life. As a people, we've always had technical difficulties, but we've always been resilient. And as Maya Angelou said, we still rise, we still rise, we still rise. And now, internationally acclaimed violinist, Demola, the platform is yours.
guys vibing with me tonight? All right, I go by the name Demola. We're gonna switch it up a little bit, but before then, I'm gonna take you guys back to 80s or the 90s, and let's do something cool, and then we'll come back to new school and turn it up a little bit. Thank you guys for this opportunity. I want to give a big shout out to the African heritage, and I want to say I love you guys so much. And this is all for our people, for black people. I want to say I love you guys so much. Let's turn it up a little bit. DJ B, are you ready for me? Let's go. Yeah, it's a lovely day. Switch it up a little bit. knows this one? Let's go crazy on this one a little bit. vibe with me. Who got it? You gotta go, you gotta go. Vibe with me, vibe with me. Drop it a little bit, drop it a little bit. Yo, what's up, people? Hope you guys are vibing with me. I hope you guys are vibing with me. I hope you guys are enjoying the music. So I go by the name Demola. You know, I'm on Niger. What's up? You can find me on Instagram, on TikTok, and Twitter at Demola violinist. For a little bit, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. You know, I'm gonna take you back a little bit old school, and then we're gonna do some Afro beats and some dancehall music. Are you guys ready to vibe with me? All right, let's do this. That was sleek. Dope.
on the beat.
Yeah. Running up. Running up. I want you guys to sing this one along with me. 1, 2. Can't hear you guys. Listen. Y'all know this one, right? Don't act like you don't know this one now. Joanna, Joe. Listen up, say. What? See? 90s, back to the 90s. Hey, so this is how I sign out. Thank you guys for vibing with me. You know, I go by the name Demola. A lot of people be like, yo, I want to look for you on Facebook. It is official Demola on Facebook. Or you just go and type at Demola Violinist, and it's going to pop up my page. On Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. Yeah, on TikTok. TikTok family, I vibe with you guys. It's at Demola Violinist, the same thing, at DEMOLAVIOLINIST. Thank you guys for vibing with me. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Yes, come on, man. That was it, brother. That was it. That was it. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. I said GOODJOB. Good job. Good job. Y'all got to go follow that brother right now. I've already put him in my story, y'all. So I've already told my thousands of followers to follow this brother right now. Y'all go follow him on all social media platforms. My brother, go ahead and put it in the chat for us if you can. Y'all got to follow this brother. We didn't have the soul food that we normally have every year because of COVID-19, but we just had some soul food. We were at the Soul Food Cafe, from old school to new school. Hey, from old school to new school. Good job, good job. Those Afro beats got me out of my seat. Good job, good job. This brother's on fire. No one can compete with Demola. Good job. GOODJOB. Good job, good job. GOODJOB. Good job, good job. Yes. Oh my God. Man, look. I'm so fired up, y'all. I'm so fired up. I don't know if I was on mute or off mute, but I'm fired up. Man, I'm just fired up. Man, the brother just took us around the world, old school, new school. It was just amazing. Those of you who are streaming, watching us on Facebook, we are streaming live. Guess what? I'm telling you, what a historic program we had on today. Amazing, amazing speaker. Dr. Lifting Littleton, once again, historian Bay. I mean, just everybody knowledgeable. K Love was in the building. Yes, I seen Queen Canty back there in the building. Just, oh man, look, I'm just excited about everything that we saw. K Love killed it. Man, this was just amazing. Yes, yes. Our esteemed board member. Yeah, Doc, you came on. You did what you did. And now listen, I'm about to bring up a tremendous trio. A tree. I didn't say tremendous trio. And I said tree because guess what? They are part of our roots. They are part of the branches of AHI, y'all. AHI is rooted in Black brilliance, Black excellence, Black love, Black ingenuity, Black innovation, Black elevation. Man, I'm about to bring them up at this time. First of all, I want to bring up this individual. There are three of them now. There are three of them I'm about to bring up. One is the co-founder of AHI, and I have known her for 35 plus years, and she was my mentor at the Savannah State University. I'm telling you, I'm talking about none other than Dr. Omobolade Olabisi Olayinka Delano. Yes, co-founder of AHI, Dr. Brilliant Bola Delano. That's the first person I'm going to bring up, y'all. That's the first person. And then I'm going to bring up one that I've known now for nearly a decade. Yes, she is rocking those pearls today. Always rocking her pearls. Give it up. Yes, one of our board members, AHI board member, Dr. Significant Sabrina Robbins. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I have to bring up one of my surrogate nieces, yes, who keeps us all on point behind the scenes, our social and community outreach service director. Yes, none other than legit Laura Jones. So I'm bringing that tremendous trio to the platform right now. GOODJOB. Good job. Good job.
Well, greetings, 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 everyone. We just want to say thank you to each and every one of you that is in this space with us. You could have made a decision to be somewhere else, but you decided to spend it with African Heritage Incorporated. We want to say thank you. For those of you who may not know us, we are African Heritage Incorporated in Appleton, Wisconsin. And yeah, we got Black folks in Appleton. So here we are in Wisconsin. And we only about an hour, maybe about 90 minutes away from Milwaukee. We about maybe 30 minutes away from Green Bay, Wisconsin. But all the way from Appleton, Wisconsin, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for spending African Heritage Incorporated February Black History Program. For African Heritage, it's 365 days a year. So you can be self-assured that our Black programming, all about us, centered on us, is always going to be all the time. We're not going to relegate ourselves to February. But I get it, we got to do February. So here we are doing February. Thank you, Mr. Keith L. Brown. Brother Brown, thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to you. And my brother, Demola, oh, you all, I'm about to have a party just so I can hire him. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, my family and I, we're just going to listen to Demola all day. That's what we're going to do. But please follow him. And Dr. Littleton, Sister Littleton, you're back again. You basically are historian bay for African Heritage Inc. And we're just always going to keep bringing you back because it's all about Black excellence, and you just did it for us. So thank you. But again, thank you to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sister Dr. Robbins, would you like to add any few words?
Yes, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. A shout out to our phenomenal artist, K Love, Mr. Demola, just wonderful. And my niece, Dr. Lanice Littleton, oh, I knew she would bring it. I took so many notes, so many notes to bring back because she's absolutely right. We are at a pivotal time. They call it novel, but it looks like we've been here before. So what can we do to do it better this time? We're still facing racism. We're still facing police brutality. We still have significant economic disparities, and our people have been very negatively impacted by loss of jobs. And so as everyone is saying, oh, we're coming back, our people are not. So what can we do so that we're not left out? Being informed. The answer for today is rooted in the history, and my niece brought it, Dr. Littleton. Thank you. We will incorporate what you share today into our future campaign. So know that. And then to all of you, to the committee, our wonderful Laura Jones, Dr. Delano, Dr. Adeboye. Another person you didn't get a chance to see is Victoria and Mr. Impossible have been working really hard to make sure we deliver a high quality program, and we thank you. And we thank you for taking the time to party with us. You know, these are tough times, but we have to celebrate that we're still alive, and I have to be a light to our larger community, that we still have to keep on. We still must bring joy, and we must be informed, and we must support each other through this. So thank you so much for joining us. Laura?
Yes, as they both have said, thank you so much again. Please feel free to donate to African Heritage Inc. The link is in the chat. If you're on Facebook, we know you're watching, so shout out to everyone who is watching us live on Facebook right now. We really appreciate you all, the love and support that you all continuously give African Heritage Inc. And we'll be dropping the donation link there as well. Thank you all for joining us, and we really, really, really appreciate our sponsors and all who were involved in our program today.
GOODJOB, good job to all of our board members out there, all of our supporters. Continue to support African Heritage Inc. You know, it's about getting our silver rights as well. So definitely drop those donations, because when you drop those donations, we can serve our young people in the Midwest, across the Fox cities, nationally and globally. We can support families. We can support all of the initiatives that AHI cares deeply about. This is not something that's easy to do. So your financial contributions are definitely appreciated, and you are appreciated as well. So Dr. Bola, did you have anything else? Or Dr. Sabrina, as we prepare to close out, we want you all to continue to rise up. We're going to rise up as a people. We're going to rise up as a village. And do not let the pandemic paralyze your purpose, and do not let it diminish your destiny. Do not let it paralyze your purpose or diminish your destiny. Black History 365, 24/7, unapologetically Black. Yes, African Heritage Inc. Doing it big, doing it all the time. Until next time, we love you. Continue to be empowered, not devoured. And remember, Black history is world history. Yes, rise up.
You're broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round. You can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we can walk it out.
Y'all can put your cell phones up, put your lights on, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, you can do it right now. Yes. We got to rise up as a people. Rise. Rise. For my people. Doing it for the people, doing it for the culture.